That's where I'm at.
What's on your dream list?
Oh, I'm saving up for the shaped twins, the focal shaped twins.
Cool.
I mean, ATCs are way beyond what I can afford at this moment in my life, but
you're not alone there. They're insane.
Yeah. And the focals are pushing it, but it's I went to a showroom in Tel Aviv to hear like all the focals.
Yeah.
And I thought they sounded the most even and balanced and 3D of all of the for sure of all the shape lines, and I found them better than the Solo 6 even.
Cool.
Like it felt like the Solo 6s were more hyped in the top end and not as transparent, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So I was like, these and also my acoustician recommended it to a buddy of mine who he treated his room also. So I was like, okay, I had like an idea that this might be the right move.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard to like, you know, once you get to the focal twins and the trios, okay, that's a different story. But like that's beyond the pocket right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many options out there. It's kind of just, I mean, whatever you choose, it's going to be whatever speaks to you initially, I think. And then you work on them for a little bit and you either get to know them and then you know them and there's nothing more important than that. Or you find that you need something more from your monitors. And I feel like that there's so many factors, like the room being probably the biggest factor there,
sure.
but also personal preference and what you're latching onto in a mix and what, you know, just even the response of your own hearing. The focals, I think the coolest thing about the focals in general that I've heard, I haven't heard a lot of them, but I've worked on a few different pairs and I couldn't even tell you what they were, but they were super translatable. Like I sat down in front of them and right away I understood what was happening. I could see a clear picture. And I don't even think that was because the room was particularly amazing. It's obvious that they're pretty, like they're solid monitors. At least the ones I've used.
Do you think it's more important to like the monitors or for them to like, meaning is it about how you like the way they sound or is it about how you don't like the way they sound so that you could like, you know, with the NS10s, like nobody likes the way they sound, right? You just, but it forces you to work harder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just, it's what you're used to and it's the information that you're getting. So as long as you're getting the information that you need, I think that's the most important thing. Sometimes that can't be monitors because you're just working in your bedroom, right? Like it doesn't matter how good your monitors are in your bedroom, the room is going to make them lie to you.
Right.
So headphones are probably the more practical solution in that scenario, right? So it just depends, I think.
Wait, so are you? So you're referencing on headphones and the ATCs when you're mastering?
Yeah, totally. And I like to sort of spend some time on each. Like I might start and then start on headphones and then bring it to the ATCs. That's my favorite way to do it. And then do my QC pass on the headphones again. Just to sort of, first of all, most people are listening on headphones. So to have the final product be done on headphones makes a lot of sense to me. That's how it's probably going to be consumed. And there's just a very different listening experience. Because ATCs in a room like CPS does not exist anywhere else. That is not reality. That is my spaceship that only I and Brock get to enjoy, right? So it's not super, super relevant.
I love that you said that because nobody, even hi-fis, people don't really have anymore, right? Everyone's just rocking the AirPods. That's,
totally.
You know, or Beats or whatever the hell they're listening to.
Exactly. So, but just going back to your question, which I really liked, some people want their monitors to give them only negative feedback. Right? Like only show them the ugly stuff. So they mix on Auratones or NS10s, even though I love the way the NS10s sound so much with a sub. But they're papery and they're strange. And they're very mid-rangey. So some people like that. Like if my mix does, I want to listen in the worst circumstances possible and I still want my mix to sound good. And sometimes that is AirPods or the trashiest like Sony earbuds, $20 Sony earbuds or whatever. And that's how people thrive. And other people need all that detail. They need their hi-fi. And it's probably just how they're, how they're listening and how they're reacting. And again, just it's almost like a means of communication with their gear. And everyone's going to communicate slightly differently. Everyone needs different information from their monitors in order to react and do their best work. And so, yeah, that's my
good.
take.
I like
on
that.
It anyway.
That's a good way of phrasing it. Yeah. I mean, I the reason why I need to upgrade my monitors is because my monitors are kind of lying to me at the crossover point because I have.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe they're just because they're shitty monitors because I like the Yamaha HS80s, which are not known for being amazing, but the bass sounds amazing in my room. The bass translates really well right now, and the top end does too. But the mid range is just throwing me off every time because it's like something phasey is happening in 800 to 2000 hertz range. So
Totally.
I can't deal with that anymore.
Yeah. And you probably just outgrew those monitors. Like those monitors speak to a lot of people. I'm staring at a pair right now. They're not mine, but I am staring at a pair. They speak to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people's first or second monitor choice, like when they're starting out. And I feel like, you probably they've probably served you really, really well. I had HS5s. I loved my HS5s. There's nothing wrong with them. They became redundant because I'm a bit obsessive and I maybe owned 4 or 5 pairs of NS10s. I didn't need the HS5s anymore. But you probably
I have these Haflers. I don't know if you've heard of these Haflers.
Yeah.
They're like the M5s. Those were my first monitors, and they're very NS10y.
Right.
And I just had them sitting around for the last couple of years, and I just plugged them into my hi-fi receiver, and now I have them set up in my living room. They're sounding good.
Nice.
It was a tip from another guy on the podcast, Chris Crelia, another Canadian in Toronto.
Oh, right on.
So,
man, I need more friends in Toronto. I need to talk to more people from Toronto. I feel like they're a whole world away.
My wife's Canadian, so I'm all about Canada.
Represent.
But it has actually a little knob on it where you can reduce the 2K area.
Yeah.
So it actually sounds really nice if you flip it off. It's got a great mid-range detail like that.
Oh, interesting.
It's pretty neat.
Cool.
And they were not expensive apparently when they were produced. I mean, I bought it secondhand, but they were like $250 or something back in the day.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know a lot of people with those. I think a couple studios in town have a pair, but I don't know if they're even like plugged in. They're just around. I've seen them around a lot. Huh.
Yeah. Wait. So let's go back to the original question, which was minimum gear to start mastering.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah. So monitoring is very, very important. And that can look so many different ways. It's probably going to be headphones, a really, really, really good set of headphones for most people. And then obviously a computer and a DAW. And we use Wavelab. And after just working with Wavelab, man, it was so annoying to learn that DAW. But I can't imagine working in any other DAW for mastering now. I've worked in Pro Tools pretty much my whole career. It was the first DAW I ever used, and it's still my main one. But I can't imagine mastering in it, even just like sample rate conversion. Way better in Wavelab. That's choosing the right DAW for what you're doing is very important. So a good DAW, a good set of headphones. And then, man, you could just do it with those 3 DMG plugins I mentioned, probably. Maybe you get a good de-esser in there. We're using a bunch of the Weiss stuff. We have a hardware. Yeah, there's a hardware unit as well that we have. Digital.
Right, that's like the most expensive plugin I think that exists is like that Weiss, the Weiss plugin of their mastering chain or something. I don't know. It's quite expensive, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. So they didn't used to offer like a plugin. It was just like a digital box, right? So digital I/O, which is essentially a plugin in a box, but they didn't offer it outside of the box. And the plugin in the box, yes, was very, very expensive. I think it made a lot of people sad when they're like, "Here's the exact same algorithm for like $500." Anyway, we have both now, which is good. Oh no.
There goes my mic. All good.
RE20. So top heavy.
Yes, it is. I love this microphone.
Yeah, it's a good mic. I don't know why I don't own one. It seems like it's because I feel like they should always be around, and they always will be. I take them for granted. Great mic.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
On the home studio front, don't take it for granted. But I just think they're a bit more versatile than the SM7.
Big time.
And I think they take EQ a bit better.
Yeah. Every time I do a show, see, I'm spoiled. That's my problem. That's why I don't own one, because I'm spoiled. And I work in big, beautiful studios where it's like, am I going to use the RA20 today, or am I going to use the Fit 47 from 1960 something or whatever? Anyway, great mic.
That's
RA20.
never happened to me, but that sounds fun.
It's pretty fun. Not gonna lie. But yeah, anyway, I think that's pretty much it. And that's what that's not a lot. That's what some of my masters look like. Just those things. Because that's all that's needed. Like, if you hit a bunch of tubes, you get a bunch of transient information potentially that some music just doesn't need or want. And so sticking digital is just the way, keeping it simple, keeping it minimal. Sometimes that is just the way. So you can absolutely get started with just those few things. So monitoring. Oh, and then I didn't actually describe what those DMG plugins do. So multiplicity is a multiband compressor. Equilibrium is an EQ, obviously, and then limitless is a limiter. So a good multiband, a good EQ, and a good limiter. All you need. You do a lot with those things.
Do you find like you're setting a multiband compressor very similar to how you would set like a regular compressor, like everything with the same attack release, or it's like super different in the different bands?
Totally depends. I think, given the rest of the chain, I'm often using the sidechain filter on the Verimue. I can control sort of the high independently with the DS, with the Weiss. So a lot of times I'm just using multiplicity to either focus on a single band or a couple bands that I really think are out of control. And that's pretty subtle, but it might be like, okay, my low mid, like 150 hertz is like crazy boomy. I might just have like one band sort of grabbing that when it gets out of control. Or most often I'm just using it before the limiter and it is linked just to sort of softly keep everything in check in case, again, any one of those comes, gets unruly or what have you.
Just gives you a bit more headroom.
Yeah. And sometimes I use a multiband like a DSR2, right? Like, so if there's too much like crazy, like 6K bouncing around or something like that, or too much air bouncing around, I might have some unlinked instances that are just focused on that high and high mid area to rein that in. Cymbals. And
you could probably use mid side to like really hone it in.
I use, absolutely. Actually, especially when it's sibilance, mid-side is my friend.
Wait, so tell me what you love so much about ATCs. What is it that...
I don't know. It's like taking a bite out of a hamburger. It's just like, they're meaty. They're just like, how? I don't know.
Best analogy ever.
Thank you. Big fan of hamburgers. They just speak to me. I think that's all it comes down to. I'm obsessed with NS10s as well. And I used to love these HD 280s. I feel like they actually just changed something about the components has changed over these. This pair that I'm wearing is 12 or more, 14 years old. And they were like $80 even then. But they're very, very mid-range focused. I think I like mid-range detail. That's where the majority, it's just between, well, this isn't really mid-range, this is a large portion of the frequency spectrum, but from like 800 hertz to 4K, or even 800 hertz like 2K, if I don't have clarity and translation in that area, I'm completely lost. So I guess it's just, for me, it's all about the mid-range, and there's something really, really incredible about the way ATC handles. I'm sure it's a combination of design and cabinet and crossover and all of the things, but even just the tweeters that they manufacture them, I think, their own thing, their own design. They just speak to me. I don't know enough about speaker design to know why per se, but they really do, and it's all in that mid-range. I also get super lost when there's like an excess of low end in my speaker. or really hyped high end. I really don't like that. I mean, I guess that's the opposite of mid range. So